What is going on, everybody? Another quick video from me. So I'm going to talk about how I potentially spot good projects to invest in for a flip. Yeah. So what I've done is I usually go through to the, well, if you go to the very top of the screen, you'll see it here, stats, rankings. Let me just get that and do it again because it's not on the top one. And basically this will give you an idea of everything: the floor price, the changes, the percent isn't actually really correct because it's not down 45% from yesterday. The floor price yesterday was like 16 and a bit. So don't go, oh look, it's down that much, and think it's down 45% or 36% or up that. For some, I don't exactly know how it's calculated, but what I use this as an indicator to show it's gone down from what it was yesterday, but it isn't exactly what you might assume it to be if you were doing a calculation. This was like 16. You know, if you can just go into activity and have a look. Obviously, the average price is going to be different. You can't really see it here. It actually looks like it's gone up, but it's because the floor price, like I've mentioned in my other videos, is different from the average price, because the average price, you know, you can see stuff here has been selling for 22 and stuff 30, which it is possible that it's gone up on average, but yeah, like I normally use the floor price, so maybe it's not, maybe it's done on average price, to be honest. Maybe it's 45% down on an average price, not that floor price, but the floor price is what you really want to be looking at, because you want to be buying on the floor most of the time, like 95% of the time. Unless there's an actual reason to. For example, sometimes they have like Genesis, meaning the first thousands in the collection, and give you a better utility, meaning they do more. You can stake them and get more rewards or something, and so maybe that's the reason why you want to look at rarity rather than not. But most of the time, if it's generic, everything does this, you know, everything has the same value, then I use the floor. I use it as an indicator just to see if it's gone down or up since yesterday. Again, I don't look at the 7 days too much. Yes, it's good to see anything that's gone crazy in the last 7 days. You don't really want to invest in. If you just click that, it's gone up crazy in the last 7 days. I'm not really looking at it too much, but again, like I said, another indicator. So what I'll do, this is something I was looking at yesterday, so I'm going to give you an example. I didn't actually buy it because I don't normally do and just buy it off the bat, like within 20 minutes, but you know, you could do it. So I always scroll down here and I open up links, like, you know, if I'm interested in that, I just want to have another look into it, that, whatever it is, yeah. And I'm very familiar with the projects that I'm looking at, the floor prices. So I'll start up here, I'll start going down, I go, well, yeah, what was I looking at? NFT Worlds. Oh, I remember, I'm curious about this because I bought in at 0.14 and sold at like 0.5, and now it's like 3, and it went to 4 point something the other day. It's sad. But anyway, you scroll down and I'm just looking for the projects that I am, because there's so many that pop in and change around that there's just so many you cannot keep up with all of them. So, you know, Metaverse, I remember this is 0.8 but 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 1.44. Just little things that I'm sort of, anything new that might be here, I'm like, oh, I wonder what that is, you know, if it looks interesting, which is definitely difficult to tell this by the title. If it's, you can kind of tell a little bit, like if it's a game maybe, because it will have some sort of gaming picture, maybe like, you know, Frontier game, you can kind of get some idea, but usually you can't get crazy idea. I just kind of like, oh, I wonder what that is, yeah. So I'm scrolling down here, and anyway, let's go on to the second page, and I found Desperate Ape Wives yesterday. Now, not that I found them yesterday, I've seen them around for ages, but I was looking at them because a lot of stuff was pumping yesterday, and for the day before, and for a couple of days anyway. And when they're already pumping, you're not necessarily really interested in buying. You should be buying when it's at the lows, like as in when the volume is low. So an example would be, you could jump onto June OpenSea, click on here, and it will show you the volume. Volumes, you know, like with Amazon, the more sales that are going through it, the more likely that the price is going to go down and up. But I find that the more sales, more people go out of stock, or more people get out of it. People that want to sell disappear. Prices usually over time go up. I mean, the overtime, like, yeah, the price can go down short term, but within a day, the high volume means more people are probably buying. Obviously, it means more people are selling, but if more people are selling, more people are buying. Ultimately, it's the same thing, yeah? And you want to be buying down here. This is the perfect time to be buying. And before this, yeah, so this is the perfect time to be buying here. So a lot of what and even over here is okay, like some of these down days, maybe just here as well. But you can see the volume is pretty much gone crazy. And you can look at the monthly volume here. The time to be buying was really like around here, like November time. even, yeah, November was the perfect time. Of course, you don't know if that's going to be the low month or not, but that's kind of how it works more than anything. And so I was looking, and I was like, I've been keeping an eye on different things, and I was like, right, okay, Desperate Ape Wives. Now I saw this at 0.729 yesterday, and I was like, oh, that's a good price because a lot of things were already up, and you don't want to be buying that. So you're either going to sell the stuff you already have because things are going up. You're either going to hold on to them if they're already going up because you think they're worth more than they are, than the current market's saying. But I saw this. Now, I didn't buy it again, but I wanted, it was definitely something I was interested in. So I clicked, obviously, buy now, and you want to find the cheapest will pop up here. I even think I didn't save it as a link. Now, what I do and what I've done before, because I'm aware, I went to activity, and you can see here, it's pretty low, yeah? Now, obviously, again, like I always say, the average price does not mean the floor price. It can be, but it's probably going to be higher the average price because people are buying rarer ones at higher prices. But you can see here, like it's got to about 2.2, 2.6, even here 1.8, 1.6. I'm not looking to obviously hold this forever and hope it goes to a million or whatever. I'm just looking to make some nice profits, even if it was like 0.5, 0.3. If you make 0.3 a couple of times a month, you got an Ethereum, it's £3,000. You don't have to do much really, yeah. Of course, if this is too expensive for you, fair enough. Like, I've only got just over an ETH in my account. So I was like, yeah, I could do this. But again, is there anything else that you want to be getting into that's probably got better value for the amount of liquidity I have as of right now, where I still have free cash flow is the play. So that's why I was just like, I'll look at it tomorrow. So it jumped up. It's not gone up anything crazy, but it's gone up. And, you can't see it on here, but I've seen it go up to about 1.5, 1.45 a couple of times. And you can see it's obviously gone way higher than that. But again, I'm not looking to, at 0.7, what was it, 0.72 plus some gas, let's say it was 0.76. Minus 1. That's the way I did it, minus 1.4 just to get the difference. If you're selling it at 1.4, you can make half an ETH profit, yeah? And that's not looking for the high, the total highs on the activity or anything like that. I'm just looking for the averages. Yes, it can go down. Like obviously, the older the history, just like with a keeper chart, the less relevant it is. Even though this isn't old, with NFT it does move faster than with standard stuff. Again, you can see it. Even here it got up to about 1. But obviously here, and so I'm just looking to potentially ride it. Yes, it could go even further down. That's why I wasn't necessarily going to buy yesterday. I was like, I wanted to watch as well because I'm learning, and I wanted to see, okay, that if I bought now, what could I sell it for in a week? Yeah, and it's just like these tests. The more tests you do like that, eventually you'll be like, you know what? Most like 80% of the time I'm saying that it's profitable. Then you can obviously act more on those instincts. Again, it's never going to be 100%. It's more about playing the averages because it could be that this goes down even further to 0.5. Okay, well now you've got to wait again because you still had you've got your strategy in play, and now you have to just let it play out. And so I was literally just doing that. And another good thing to identify is that the volume is really low on here. So like number of sales, you can see here's like that little dot, little line. You can see the volume up here is way higher. And even some of these little spikes where it goes up, it kind of like has a spike in volume. So that makes me, and yesterday it was pretty low. It's been pretty low recently. Obviously here it was way higher. And so that's also a good indicator that less people that are buying, the more likely the price goes down, because like with Amazon, if you've got lots of stock, obviously here you might not have a lot of stock, but the amount tied up into one NFT could be thousands. You're going, okay, instead of taking 0.2 ETH profit, I'll take 0.18 because it's still profit. And then you'll see that the price will slowly chip down because people want to sell. But if there's not as many buyers, obviously the only way to really get it to sell is to bring the price down a little bit. And you can literally manually go and edit your price and bring it down like a tiny bit, all the time, just to basically get here in the buy now section. If you look, this person's just undercut this person by like a tiny fraction, and obviously there's a bit of a gap there, and you can see that the price does go up. So if there was started to be volume activity, you can see how quick it could go from 0.839 to 0.1, basically 0.99. It doesn't take a lot of buys. Like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 7 on the page. If you're having a couple of hundred sales in a day, which does happen on that activity, like I showed you, then you could easily just find yourself up here. yeah, in the ones. And yeah, you could decide that's plenty and you're happy to take it, or you might be looking to hold out a little longer, depending on the market sentiment. Is the overall market bullish or not? Like, if it's not, maybe it's better to take less profits because you're still making money, and then you have your, you can basically play a bit more in the game, if you get what I mean. And I decided that, yeah, okay, where a lot of other things were doing crazy volumes, let's just go on to something like Mutant Apes, which is the highest volume one at the moment. This was a 0.8 the other day, and look at the volume. Yeah, when the volume's higher, doesn't necessarily have to be like crazy high, but even these in the middle here are way. This is the volume was very flat here, and therefore the price was very flat. Doesn't mean it didn't have spikes. Of course, it's going to have stuff. Volume here improves. Price does go up from 0.4, even though it doesn't look like a big jump. 0.5 ETH to 10 ETH. Again here, you can see. Doesn't mean it won't come back down and go up and down. It's fluid, but you can kind of get what I'm saying. And so I was looking at that and going, okay, I have seen it at 0.14 Desperate Ape Wives a couple of times now. And so that made me decide that it's potentially a good entry point, but how low does it go as it's coming down? And so I do that a lot with these. I'm like, a lot of these, I'm like, I have no, for me, for example, that's too expensive, 6 ETH. And what's that? 3 times, that's like a lot of money. So I always think of like US dollars, and I've got to convert to pounds, and it really annoys me. And you can just go down and obviously build up like a bit of a database in your mind of what kind of things you're interested in. Is it, for example, gaining land? This is the land that you have in a game. Yeah, are you more interested in that? Like, are you going to play across the board? You're not worried about that. You're just playing arbitrage, Decentraland. More like digital land. Maybe some of the things have utility that give you a reward, like they give you income. Yeah. Is it a character in a game? Some of them are. Yeah. Some of the NFTs are characters in a game, so you can go play. Like some of these things, you can get wool, and then that wool has value, and you can unlock that wool and sell it later. And so this one's like a metaverse DAO, meaning they basically, all of the money that they collect, they go and buy metaverse gaming NFTs, and then if the value of that goes up, obviously that token's worth more because you're like a part shareholder, or you almost own a fraction of whatever that DAO owns. DAO is decentralized autonomous organization, but basically just means like a group of people, and you have like a timeshare, I guess. And I'm just doing that pretty much all the time. I'm going through and I just identify the ones that I'm aware of. A lot of these I'm not. I'm like, I have no idea. I've talked about Oni the other day, or yesterday, or whatever it was. And it doesn't mean that I can't go through and learn all of these. I can go, right, today let's learn what this basic Bored Ape Club is. But the thing is, there's a lot of junk out there. It's interesting, you have to figure out what's good and bad, and you got to do your research. Like D-race horses, I've looked at this. This is potentially really undervalued. Why can't I go? If you go into here, but again, I don't know enough about. I know enough. You can see, it's really undervalued. I mean, not that it is, because what is it valued? Yeah, it's just the market value that the world puts on it. So it's it could be worthless. But you get what I mean. I'm kind of like, I know this is lower. This is pretty low, yeah, compared to what it's been, because I've seen this at like 1.8, I think I saw it about a month ago or a month and a half ago. But again, I'm like, do I want to be involved? Do I want to be, basically, this is like a digital horse that you race, and you have a hippodrome, and you can get sponsorship, people, and then people in the metaverse can go and actually like place bets on like your horses, and you can like host tournaments and have competitions, and like winners make money and stuff. Like the horse, like it's like owning a real horse, yeah. But it's like, do I want to be getting involved with that? Do I need to do more research? Blah blah blah. And you can spend hours and hours and hours researching and reading through Discord and seeing everything that's going on. And I'm basically just doing that a lot of the time. So right now, I did not buy that. The only one I actually have bought, and I'll give you a little look at what I bought. I bought this thing, and this thing. Now this thing, I don't really know huge much about. This actually came from a recommendation in my Discord group. I bought it for 0.34, and it's at 0.37, and it went up to 0.4 something yesterday. But a good thing to add to this is that you also want to pay attention for what the what's it called, royalties are. So the royalties get paid to the creators when you buy something. So if I click here, I don't think this one's going to work, but it's not buy now. Don't know why it popped up there. This one here. if you buy now, you don't see it on this, but there's normally a little underneath this level 13 that has like a royalty fee. So you always have to pay when you sell something. So if you're buying and selling to flip to make profit, obviously you've got to take the fees into consideration. 2.5% always to OpenSea for every transaction. And then you'll have a royalty fee, and this actually has zero royalty fee. So that means you don't really have to be selling it much more to be making profit. Yeah, of course you've got to cover your gas, because when you go and buy this, you've got to pay a gas fee, so you've got to make sure you take that into consideration. But there are other things that have higher costs. So I think something like this, it doesn't matter what it is, we can just give this for an example. If you go and buy this, what is the royalty? 2.5%. So it's good, yeah, it's low. So that means in total it's only 5%. But there are some that are like 10%. That means you've got to pay 12.5%. Yeah. So if you're paying 12.5% on this, minus 12.5%, you basically, that means you're only breaking even if you bought this for 13.80. 13 ETH 80. You almost lost 2 ETH in that transaction. Yeah. From fees. So even if it's like, oh look, I'm up 2 ETH, well actually you're broken even. And so that's if not on this example, this is a 2.5% one, but if you're doing a 12.5, which is the 10% that some royalty fees have, then it's a bit of a sticky situation, because you've got to actually make sure that you're not only, now that you've bought it, it's got to go up 2 ETH, and if you were using this as an example, just to break even, and then it's got to go up more to make profit. So that's also something to take into consideration. So it's almost like when you're looking through these, keep that in the back of your mind and actually just go and have a check, pretend to buy it and see what it says on that royalty bit. Because if it's very easy to think, oh yeah, I can do that, but then if the royalties is too high, I think this could be like they vary basically. There's no exact royalty. I think most of them got up to about 10. Maybe I've seen higher. What's this? 9.5%. So it's 11.5. No, it's what is it? 12%. 12% you would have to pay on this, and that's just do another example. 3.1 minus 12%. If you're buying this at 2.72 ETH, this is still break even. And actually, you would have to pay. You would have had to have paid gas if you actually bought the NFT for that previous price. So actually, you'd have to sell it for a bit more than this. And so you've got to be really mindful of that, because if you don't, then you'll either not make money, or you lose money, or you will find that it's not as the floor has to rise more for you just to get the same amount of profit out of something than if you were in another project that had a way lower percentage. And so that's actually really important. So I'm going to leave the video there, short and sweet-ish, and hopefully you liked it. Any questions, let me know, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye.